So, as you may or may not be aware, today, being December 15th, was to be the final Nintendo Direct revolving around Super Smash Bros., meaning that any more announcements they had to make regarding any new characters, any new costume stages, whatever, any new updates or DLC to Super Smash Bros. 3DS and Wii U would be discussed today. They are officially closing the chapter on Super Smash Bros. 3DS, Wii U. No more development after what we've learned today, and it's kind of sad because they've been working on that game for well over a year after release. They've done a lot. I think Nintendo did DLC right this time with the Super Smash Bros. Fighter Ballad. I think that was one of the coolest ideas. I hope they try something like that again with the next Super Smash Bros. But yeah. So on to what they actually spoke about, because I was not gonna miss this. I definitely had to watch this live, and I was getting ready to freak out over what the surprises might be, and there were one or two surprises. But anyways, so Nintendo started off immediately with a character reveal, and that being Corrin from the new Fire Emblem Fates Conquest games. There's like two versions of the new Fire Emblem. Now, for me, it's not that big a deal personally because I've never been that big into Fire Emblem. Not that I don't think it's a good game. I'm not a strategy RPG kind of guy, and I know a lot of people love those games. So people will probably dig the hell out of this. If you ask me, though, I think on Nintendo's part, it might be just a little bit of like an advertisement for a game within another game, because they're like, oh, this game's coming out. First of all, it's been out in Japan for a while now. We're getting the shit end of the stick on that one, if you were looking forward to that game. But the game is about to come out soon, so they're like, well, how do we hype it? Oh, I know. We'll throw in a character from the new game into Smash Brothers, the game of ours that everybody plays, to make sure everybody knows about Fire Emblem. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like to me. But that's not to say that he looks like he plays like shit either. You could also be a female version of him, which is kind of cool. His alternate costume. A lot of his attacks, he has a sword, but most of his attacks revolve around. He has the blood of a dragon in his body, so he can actually shapeshift his body parts into dragon parts and stuff. So he's a cool looking character. Don't even get me wrong. I'm definitely gonna fuck around with him and see what he's all about. But that's just what it looked like to me. So moving on to Cloud. We already knew about Cloud. They had that big trailer in the last Nintendo Direct. What they did this time was they kind of just went into detail regarding his moveset. So they were talking about the names of all his moves and the damage and stuff, which, to be honest, you really already knew what moves he had. If you were familiar with Final Fantasy VII before this, when you seen the trailer with him in it, you're like, all right, you already named every move. You kind of figured out how they worked. But, they were just letting everybody know, he has the Blade name, the Clem Hazard. His final smash is the Omni Slash, which is fucking awesome. Of course, that had to be his finisher. They even say that in the video. Like, he had to have this move, didn't he? One thing I thought was really cool about his moveset was he has the Limit Break, the finishing touch, which is a move he had in Final Fantasy VII. What's interesting about it in this game is that when it connects, it only does 1% damage, but it's a launcher. So if you hit it against somebody who has a high damage percentage, you're gonna KO them. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool, but it's unless you're attacking somebody with it who has high damage, it's kind of useless, I think. But I do think it's an interesting way to go. And I know a few characters. He's not the only character to have a move like that. I know that. But what I think was even more interesting about Cloud, outside of his moveset, was the fact that the stage that comes with him is Midgar. So it's like a floating platform in front of the Shinra building, and you see all the Mako reactors. You can see all of Midgar from the platform you're fighting on. But what's cool about the stage is that summon materia will just randomly drop into the stage, and you could pick it up, and there's multiple summons, and they will have a different effect on the battlefield. So like Ifrit will set the whole stage ablaze. Odin will slice the stage in half, and it'll stay in half for a while. And if you're caught in the middle when it closes again, you're immediately KO'd. Bahamut Zero will shoot a giant fuck you beam across the whole stage and kill everything. And what is really cool is whoever picked up the summon materia if somebody else gets KO'd from that summon materia, the person who picked it up gets the KO. So that's kind of cool. Kind of adds a little bit of depth to that level. I know a lot of people don't like all the items and stuff in Smash games, especially in tournaments. They usually shut off all items, which that's fine. That's a way to play. But I think I always love stuff like this because it's another fun little thing to do. You know what I mean? Another kind of strategy. Sometimes it causes a little like bottlenecking because everybody tries to like run for like in this case the materia or whatever items. But I still think it's fun. It's a good time. So I'm really interested and excited to play on that level. The bombshell for me was the fact that while they're talking about this whole thing, they were like, Cloud releases later today. I was like, well, what? So after I heard that, obviously, I don't know when this video is going to come out. It'll probably be out tomorrow, but I will most definitely be streaming Smash Brothers tonight because I want to play as Cloud very, 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 very bad. So I am fucking definitely excited for that, and that was a mind fuck that they pulled an E3 like it's available right now. I don't know if it's available yet, but as soon as we're done with this video, I'm gonna go ahead and look. But anyway, moving on. They also spoke about a few Mii fighter costumes that they were releasing, which really never appealed to me. I mean, they're cool to look at, but they don't really do much. Like, there's no, they don't have custom moves or anything. It's just applied over a moveset, or really, I think you could put them on any moveset. I don't really use the Mii's in that game, but so yeah, there's not much depth to them. But they have a Chocobo coming out, and what I think is the cool thing is they have a costume based on Geno from Super Mario RPG, which I know a lot of people will flip out for because a lot of people love Mario RPG, myself included. I never owned it. I only had rented it back in the day, but I definitely dug that game, and that is kind of cool. I think it would have been way cooler to have him as an actual character, but I guess they were pressed under time, and they weren't going to make any more, so like, fuck it, we'll make it a costume, So there was a couple of cool things like that. But right at the end, believe it or not, they made one more character announcement, and that character was actually none other than fucking Bayonetta, which actually flipped me out. I was like, oh my god, which kind of makes sense because if you don't know, Bayonetta, the original Bayonetta, started on the Xbox 360, and then later on, once the Wii U was announced, Nintendo picked up Bayonetta as an exclusive, so they would get Bayonetta 2 as an exclusive, and then what would wind up happening was they just released a bundle disc that had Bayonetta 1 and 2, which I still haven't picked up yet, which I will because I want to play the second one really, really, really bad. But she looks, I think I'm going to wind up using her more than I will Cloud because she looks like so much fucking fun between the guns in her hands and her feet and all the fucking, her smashes involve the demon limbs and stuff. It looks so cool. I would show like the trailers and stuff here, but last time I did that, I got copyright struck. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to link to the Nintendo Direct presentation in the description. If it's available now, it should be. This way you guys could just go and watch it for yourself. But, oh my god, it looks fucking awesome. Bayonetta is slated, by the way, to come out in February. But they said we're not exactly sure. We're shooting for February is what they said. Thank you for your patience. So we don't know exactly that it's going to come out, that she's going to come out in February, but here's hoping. But she is the final character. And they had this cool little presentation video, like right at the end of that whole thing, where they were just talking about when all is said and done, how many stages they're gonna have, how many characters, just like some stats, and they were like, we couldn't have done it without the support of everybody. Thank you to all the game developers involved that created all these properties that we've been using, all that cool stuff. It's kind of sad, like I was saying earlier. It was like, oh man, Smash is actually done. Because I remember for forever looking forward to this. Like, I knew this was going to be the best. This was going to be at least my favorite version of Smash Brothers. And it turned out to be, except for the fact that when it launched, it didn't have Roy. But they added Roy later. So I won in the end. And it's just kind of sad to see the chapter being closed. And now we know there's no more Smash characters on the horizon. And, yeah, no more Smash until next generation. The next time we'll be smashing will be on the NX, hopefully, in a couple more years. So with that being said, like I said, I hope you guys go and check out the presentation for yourself if you guys are Super Smash Brothers fans. And if you'll excuse me now, I am going to go try and download Cloud. So I will see you guys on the next live stream.